First off, I'd like to thank these amazing people who decided to support me directly and make my work here on the platform so much easier. And remember, if you also want to help me out, the missile knows where the join button is at all times. Hello pilots, welcome back. How have your battles been? Mine have been going well. Today's video is with this J-11A. Honestly, it's a pretty interesting jet to me, not because it's super good or anything, but because of what people think about it. Everyone said it was going to be super OP at 13.3, or that it was going to the wrong BR. But here's a funny thing. Even with all that, nobody really wants to play with this jet, and there's gotta be a reason for that. But I honestly don't think it's on the same level as a J-11B, a Japanese F-15, or even a Block 50. Sure, 13.3 with Fox 3s is scary, but that's just a side effect of the compression we've got in the game. If everything's broken, then everything's balanced. So now we can say the J-11A is balanced because it's broken too. Compared to the Su-30, which is the jet everyone's been talking about lately, you're not going to have a good RWR in the J-11A like you do in the Su-30. And we all know the Su-30's RWR isn't even that great. I'm not super up to date on the radar values in the game's CDK, but the J-11A's radar is the same as the first flanker, so even the radar is supposed to be worse. The Su-30's radar is actually usable if you run it manually, but here in the J-11A, there's no miracle. No amount of skill is gonna save this radar, so it doesn't really seem that interesting compared to the Su-30. The only thing you've got that's better is the airframe, so let's see how far I can take this solid airframe in some terrible matchmaking. I don't know if I just got unlucky, but I kept getting matches where I was in the J-11A and had to carry a team full of Rafales and stuff like that, dying as top frag against Typhoons, Golden Eagle, and all the monsters you can think of. Alright, enough talking, let's get into the matches. Alright, let's go. This match is one of those super rare down tiers I got, and they all follow the same pattern of being a snowball for one team. Basically, everyone just bunches up in a furball somewhere random on the map and wipes each other out in under 2 minutes. This time, I picked the right flank and made it there in time. And on top of that, I even picked up a frag along the way. That's kinda why, even though up-tier matches are a bit more stressful, I still prefer them since they're a little less chaotic than these. Let's be real, it's not that fun playing with that pressure in your head that the match is gonna end in 2 or 3 minutes. Not that I can judge anyone here either, because everyone's just getting crushed by the massive War Thunder grind. Most people are just here chasing a goal, and honestly, they're way too tired to not fly straight and just end up acting like a Minecraft mob. But no matter what happens, you just gotta deal with it. Now I've gotta try to win a 1 versus all. For now, I don't even have to worry about finding anyone because right away, all the targets were in a bad aspect. The spot system's probably gonna screw me over, so I need to be ready for the worst. Classic. In these down-tier matches, it's super common to just get magically swarmed by a bunch of enemies all clumped up for no real reason. Now I'm genuinely screwed because I'm in a tough spot to get back home, with at least 2 enemies around me and just 1 Fox 3 left. I really need a good spot to fight, because it's not just a weapon limitation here, it's a defense limitation too. I'm gonna try to take the fight somewhere I can maybe clutch it, but I'm still not too sure how this is gonna turn out. I can't believe it. I actually made it in time. Now I just need to get this guy to overshoot. That sucks. That's the R-73 everyone says is strong, but in reality it only works like once every 20 launches like that. And there was still another surprise at the end. I knew it was pretty much impossible anyway, but hey, I tried. Let's move on to the next one. Here I dropped into a 13.7. Way better, to be honest. Things are a bit more organized, so I don't have to pull off any crazy flanks or anything like that. I can just start out chill on a defensive route, flying high, and already watching that group coming head-on up ahead on radar. Sad. That was honestly heartbreaking. 3 shots and not a single frag. I don't know what happened with that first target, but he didn't go down, probably just turned around and dodged my shot. And these 2 Su-33s here didn't even try to fight the Gripen. I was expecting something a little different, but it is what it is. Just gotta deal with it. Even though I'm and my team are a comfortable spot, I can't just keep pulling here forever. I already got a kill, now it's just about being patient. Speaking of patience, it didn't really feel like there was much of it here. I'm gonna have to be super methodical with my last 77s. Here, Snail smiled on me and the match changed completely. Like I said, keeping your emotions in check in this game really pays off. Now I've got to extend a lot and figure out my next move, because you can't stay aggressive forever in mountainous terrain with just Fox 2s on the pylons. Alright, I'm pretty much in position now, and I know there's 1 or 2 guys still alive out there. There's a slim chance I'm in the right spot to snag this frag. I knew there was no way he'd resist going after those teammates just hanging out down there. That's it, guys. It's over. Started off rough, but ended great with the right choices. Another down tier, but this time I'm on a map where player macro usually can't ruin everything too quickly, since the map is big, and on top of that there's bad weather. So I'm hoping things will go a little slower this time. And once again, following that cake recipe of getting a good initial spot in front of some enemies, it's usually possible to try for an early frag on those targets. Last match it didn't work out, but maybe it will this time. Well, things went better than expected. Those Fox 3s were necessary. If I'd waited too long to fire, I probably wouldn't have had as many chances to get frags. The point is, I've already secured some good activity in the match, and whatever comes next is just a bonus. Four frags and 1 assist. Just like in the last game, there's always room to go for one more, right? So if that opportunity pops up, I'll be back. I've played on this map before, but like I said, the difference is the bracket. Notice how different the flow and playstyle of the match are. Here, right at the start, I get intercepted by an enemy defending their flank. I start getting some pings, and from the contrail, it's clear he's not gonna leave me alone. Since I'm in a bad spot, I need to take some immediate action. The beast is coming, and he's in a way better spot than I am. I just can't show myself because his radar is way better than mine, and I don't want to rely on the RNG of the spot system or the HMD lock. He still tried, but forgot to pop flares, thinking everything coming at him was radar guided. That's why I always say sometimes firing two different types of missiles is absolutely vital. I barely made it out of that one alive. Now it's finally time to get out of this hole and see if everything's clear. It's not completely clear, but it could definitely be worse. From here on, it's going to take a bit to get back into the action, so I'm just going to skip ahead. Gentlemen, here's the situation. My team lost the fight in the mountains, and 1 or 2 targets went to rearm. Instead of dealing with the ones still left in the mountains, I'd rather go after those coming back from the airfield first, since they'll have more fuel and more weapons. I also don't want to get spammed by someone high up while I'm dogfighting, so let's get to work. Alright, now I've got a bit of breathing room to go fight those guys. I'm not going to skip this part, because here I'll have to deal with this radar if I want even the slightest chance of winning. So it's a good experience for anyone who wants to try flying this thing. Notice how quickly I already got some pings with the scan. Don't mess this up, guys. In these moments, it's TWSHDN. Regular TWS can sometimes take ages to show you anything, and right now, all I need is speed. Here, just with some mind games, I managed to take him out with the first missile. Perfect. Now it's a 1 versus 1 with a target that's possibly out of missiles. Good thing I've got ears. Imagine if I had to rely on the spot system to survive against this guy. Absolutely disgusting. Alright folks, this is the last match where I've already mastered the jet, so I won't be teaching anything else. It's just for those of you who still want a little more. This one's for anyone who appreciates the art of gameplay, so stick with me until the end, where I'll say my goodbyes. Alright folks, that's all for today. Hope you liked it. Do you agree or disagree with anything I said? Tell me down in the comments. Your feedback is super important to me. The video ends, but the chat stays. Karma out.